The art of minding your own business. We all need to focus on these three concepts to live our life, to do our best, to be our best, and to act our best. Number one, listen, listen more and talk less. Number two, work purposefully. Number three, wait before you respond, have peace of mind. By doing these things, especially these three things daily, it's going to add such value to your life. It's going to actually increase your focus, and it'll be so much better for you personally and professionally in your relationships. Welcome today. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeanette. Let us give thanks to the Lord for this incredible channel, for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that this channel brings. Let's do a topic review from episode 2, parts 1 to 3. We talked about balancing our emotions last time. And one couple of the things that we actually touched base on in this episode was how our decisions, choices, and intentions impact our year of 2022. We talked about the negative emotions, more specifically on fear, rejection, and anger, and how best we should manage these effectively. And we also talked about in part 3 is positive emotions such as gratitude, optimism, and joy. And all those three, we talked about how it actually maximizes the level of your contentment in life, having a better positive mindset, and living the best life ever to obtain your dreams and your potentials. Now, the only way you're going to be able to live your passion fully is to focus on yourself and actually being more attentive to your own life and managing your emotions and maintaining a great positive mindset. Our discussion today entails a subject that may be very uncomfortable for some of us to discuss. However, how would you, and how should you view this topic is just as a learning opportunity. So let's start here. What do we all think about with this list that I'm going to mention in these words? Secret, confidentiality, trust, approach, avoidance, lies, negative emotions, positive emotions, having a bad attitude, self-centeredness, jealousy, envy. Now, this list could go on, but we're just going to touch on a few of them. We need to stop wasting our time and our energy and actually redirect it to focus more on ourselves. Our character and our relationships need to be retained, and especially with how our attitudes are, we need to stop avoiding and talking and entrapping into such negative emotions. Now, if this doesn't affect you, which what I mean this doesn't affect you is minding your business, usually it could be very disrespectful, very harsh, and sometimes the best way we can avoid these situations is to improve our life, and maybe we should actually center our own attention on our own lives with our dreams, with our goals, and what we aspire to growth and development. What do you think about these two words? Number one is gossip. Number two is covet. Well, we all know that gossip means somebody that habitually reveals someone's facts about others, either by spreading rumors, being very chatty talkers, and actually for the love of broadcasting information. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be true, but What people don't really realize here is it's a form of bullying, especially when it's something done maliciously and very inappropriate because of misinformation. Covenant, on the other hand, will, as I'm defining it now, is when a person actually has this longing and this desire and is very envious on what people have or what they don't have or what they lack. So they actually kind of do this on the rights of others, and their negative feelings also spill out on them. So we need to be try to be very gracious and very thankful for right now in your life, as I mentioned it twice, to be more purposeful and enjoy the fulfillment of your life. Start living your own passions and focus and talents and skills. Now, why do you think people compare themselves? Well, they shouldn't do that. When you compare, you're actually measuring, you're boasting a little too much, and that often signals envy and pride. Something you should also think about. What do people gossip or covenant on other people's lives? Well, many things. But let me get into more other stuff here. If you live passionately to focus on your needs, your goals, your dreams, and there's no reason to be on and to be focusing on other people's lives. Because you know what? Try to have more positive vibes. When you address your own concerns to people that gossip or covenant, um, there tends to be not a good thing because it actually brings out intentions that are unknown. It actually has a personal agenda that is identified. And number three, they actually are being caught and being disrespectful. Remember, you need to be very, very sensitive and very supportive and have a forgiving spirit of those that engage into this negative behavior. What I would suggest is just listen and just be attentive, you know? Do not give any unsolicited advice or get involved in any of this because it's not a really good practice, especially on private matters. People will approach you, they'll vent out of frustration, so just give an empathetic ear. And when you do that, um, don't engage into their negative chatter. Here are 5 points to consider. Number one, just because you hear gossip, it doesn't mean you need to repeat it. It doesn't mean you need to spread it or to text it with your phone or even chatter about it. Just avoid it. Number two, you need to have awareness that it's not good, and the people should have sound judgment when it comes to this and just have a lot of discretion because what you hear is not true. And I would say 80% of the time, or you can correct me on that, it's pretty much not true. But number three, gossip. It's fire and it spreads like wildfire. So do not engage in it. Um, you should just leave it with you when you hear it and don't respond. And nobody else wants to hear about it because, it's hurtful, it's untruthful. So, for example, say there's conflict in it with gossip. All you need to know, and this is something a very important key, is there's the person side of the story, then there's the other side of the story, and actually what actually truly happened. And that's usually the missing piece of the puzzle. It's like a great telephone effect that happens, and it just continues on and on and on. People need to see and interpret things um, very differently, and they need to view things very differently, and their perspective and their understanding and is very different. So just be gracious of it. Now, number four, the broken telephone effect. And what I mean by this is, you gossip, you tell somebody something, it passes down to somebody else. It's something you've learned, just something you've heard. And then that same version of that story goes down to 5, 10, 15, 20. And then the story travels. And as the story travels, it changes and it becomes something that destroys somebody's reputation, or it actually brings out a secret that should never have come out. And then it shifts to lies and misinformation. Not a good thing to get involved in. Number 5, drama. Well, a person who has a tendency to be a attention seeker and or needs some sort of validation or assurance. So think about this. We need to be positive, and we need to be very, very sensitive who we are engaging with when they're portraying this type of behavior, because maybe they're going through some sort of experience that is so sensitive, that's coming from hurt or pain. So as a society, we all tend to have labels. For example, drama driven. You need to have just understanding that maybe it's something emotional that needs to be attended to, and we need to balance our own positive emotions when we're around people that tend to be this way. Don't judge their behavior, because of thinking that, oh, they're draining type of people. It's not fair to do that because you don't know what they're going through. But one thing I can say is be alert, and you just need to have a positive reinforcement for them. And just to think, maybe they're unaware of their behavior, and just be a blessing to them. That's something so important that we need to do, not to be react to something that they're doing. Just be a blessing in that way. Try to be a person that will engage with somebody that um, you know we just don't know where it's coming from, like I said again, and we just need to be very careful. Here are things that you can consider. You need to have certain boundaries for yourself. Also, when people come and share their story with you, just be a listener. Don't give advice, just listen. Another thing, some but not all of these people would tend to use manipulation or to steal your positive energy from you, because they continue to bring this type of story and complain about the story. Just have that listening ear. Number 4, some are self-driven because they want to get their way. They want to get that attention as attention seekers because they're unhappy. They want you to be that self-validation, so to help them come to that conclusion or that decision. Sometimes they don't realize that within friendships and relationships, as number 5, they totally focus on their life. They enjoy to discuss the same story because of frustration, but try to just change them off of that, because, seeking validation is not a good thing, or looking for that a sense of approval. You just need to be there with them and just to comfort them. 6, sometimes they're totally not aware of how this behavior or how their actions are destroying meaningful relationships, the social connections. So, to protect yourself from this type of behavior, number 1, just control your own response and just keep moving on. Number 2, identify when you yourself create drama. Yes, we do sometimes do that, our own self, especially when we're from a place of frustration as well. And it's not nice to drag other people into that negative journey. Number 3, just try your best not to participate. People have a tendency to repeat this behavior and to just remove yourself from that cycle. It's not a good place to be. And even coming from that place to be, it's not a good to really even associate with that, you know, that positive energy and clashing with people with that behavior. But what you can do is in that relationship, just be uplifting, have positive conversations. And in light of it all, is number 5, we need to, when we meet these types of difficult personalities, what we need to do is, we are all uniquely and wonderfully made by God. And the one thing I can say is we need to learn to just make that choice, that decision, and that attitude, and to say to them, you know what? No, I'm not going to engage into this. But when you do meet these type of difficult personalities, when they engage in this type of behavior, it's usually a form of being just totally self-centered. So do not judge. And I would say once again, just be sensitive, be observant, value your own mindset, and just be a light in this world. People you encounter tend to have certain dramatic tendencies, but they're looking only for you to carry a burden. And that sense of burden is for you to help them to make a choice and maybe some kind of decision that they're looking to make, or to carry them. But just be kind. You don't need to be insensitive just because you know that this is a reaction that is coming off of them. They're just wanting you to be heard by you. And when you keep your peace and when you keep it positive in your own mindset and set your boundaries, and you're not engaging in negative talks or attitudes, you're just centering and focusing on you and your goals. That's not being insensitive. That's being positive for your own mindset and your state. So there's usually a lot of negative emotions that's associated with this, with the gossip and coveting, but it can be exhausting. But yes, it's unhealthy behavior, but you don't want to be a part of it. You just want to be there and be supportive for those people. I'm not making excuses for the behavior, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes when people thrive in this behavior, they tend to get into a behavior or an attitude that starts out with a lot of lies, a lot of misinformation. They spread lots of gossip. They try to tarnish people's reputation. They become bullies. They are so envious. They're so jealous that, you know, they need to stop doing that. What we can do when we're not engaging in this type of behavior is we can be sensitive. We can keep our focus. We can keep focus in our life and being a blessing and having the state of a good mindset. And but we need to also be cautious and not to engage into gossip or where you've heard it from, because remember, God has given you two ears and has given you a mouth, and you need to just practice to listen now and to be an effective listener and not to repeat what you hear. So, to conclude this topic of focusing on yourself, of minding your business, I would say I'm going to leave these 5 steps for you. Do not gossip, okay, or covet. Just be intentional and just say very, very politely, you know what? It's not my business. And if it's not my business, if it's not my concern, it's not yours either. So I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not going to engage into any of this chatter. Number 2, people who approach you to vent due to their negative emotions of how they're reacting at the time, what you need to be is you're in the driver's seat when people come to you. You have that control to manage your own reaction according to how they are reacting, and how you just don't need to react to their negative attitude. Number 3, practice yourself to have peace of mind. And that is so, so important. Choose to react in a positive manner. You don't need to be negative. You don't need to be nasty. You just need to react in a positive manner. Because if you react in a positive manner, and what I mean by that is in love, you will get a different reaction instead of a negative emotion reacting back. Remember, every action does not always require for you to react on your part or even to participate into that emotional level or state. Number 4, sorry, do not form any opinions on what you actually hear. Just leave it alone. Because if you leave it alone, you're not going to be a part of spreading fire. And what I mean by fire is gossip. Not good. Number 5, you need to be responsible. Yes, be responsible to make a difference. Do not entertain the negative behavior. Do not entertain the personal involvement of it. What you can do is you cannot change people's actions or behaviors. They're going to behave whatever the way they choose or feel to react at any given moment, depending on the situation, circumstance, or challenges they might be facing. All you need to do is you need to control your own self and be responsible for your reactions and how you come across. So, this message of importance to you today is just be a light to the world. Focus on yourself and attaining your goals, and your dreams, and to better yourself each and every day. It's all up to you. Um, Live your God given passion. Do not fall into being a busybody, trying to get to know everybody's business, and not actually focusing on your life or where your life is going to be, because that's something that is not a really good thing to do. And engaging in other lives, just keep your compass, keep that direction um, into achieving your own purpose. Be a motivator and be aware of keeping your journey just moving forward and not getting sidetracked. Don't get sidetracked. I can guarantee it. If you really focus and moving forward, being a light in the world, you can move so many mountains of any situation challenges that you go through. But one thing I would say, and I really appreciate, is thank you so much for listening. Thank you for commenting, and thank you for subscribing to this channel. And I'm just going to say, may God just touch each and every one of you that's listening today, and just to focus on your life goals and dreams and things you aspire to. I ask Him to make you be people that don't react quickly, don't get into gossip, don't covenant anybody else, because you know what? We all can aspire to great things in life. You just have to take the time and just try. So concludes this, and what I will say is next week on February 6th at this same time, stay tuned for episode 4. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye for now.